Let's talk about talk. Let's go deep. We all have something to share. No share with Dr. Dave.
Say hello and welcome to the Knowledge Share with Dr. Dave podcast. This is Dr. Dave Cornelius, your host. We want to talk about the social justice definition, and social justice is the view that everyone deserves equal economic, political, and social rights and opportunities. And so we want to think that we're opening doors of access and opportunity to everyone, particularly those in greatest need. So when we think of some of the formal definition, we're talking about equal rights, equal opportunities, and equal treatment. So in short, social justice means equal rights and equitable opportunities for all. Today, our conversation is with Nicole Spence-Goon, and I hope I didn't screw that up too badly, but did I say that right?
Perfect.
All right. So let's just kick off. And, we always like to kick off with an elevator pitch about Nicole and your superhero persona.
All right. So about Nicole, I can put it in like categories of work, family, and play, and work superhero in there a little bit. So I'm currently an Agile coach at Excella, and within Excella, I am part of their idea team. So that's their version of DI. They just rearranged the letter so we could have idea, but same thing. I've been working in software development for over like 20 years in a lot of different roles. Like I started as a developer, did the tester role, did BA role. I mean, and I managed to find my way into the Agile space about 10 years ago. And I just, gravitated towards it because at the time when I was in my career, I was like, I was looking for something more, but I didn't know what more was. And the project that I happened to be on at the time started talking about Agile, and I'm like, okay, we're going to do this Agile thing. I'm like, okay, I'm game, but I don't know what it is. And I found that, as we were muddling our way through, there was something really different here that focused on something more than just the work. And that's what intrigued me in getting in the Agile space. And so I've been gung-ho ever since, always trying to learn more in the Agile space, as well as being active in the community. As for family, I was born in Jamaica, and I was raised partly in Canada. So I'm like a jam can person. So, I went back and forth a lot. But that doesn't mean I like cold. I do not like winter. I still don't like winter. No, winter is never going to be for me. But as far as a superhero persona, I think what I gravitate to is transforming networking into community building. I never really liked the whole term or activity of networking, but I felt like it was better to start with what we have in common and then build relationships, as opposed to like making it transactional. What can you do for me and I can do for you, but really connecting people.
That's beautiful. So from Jamaica, so that means you are a Yadi.
Yes, but I'm from country since I'm not from Kingston.
Righty. And 20 years ago, I don't know, maybe you started when you were 15?
Yeah, we'll go with that. Let's go with that number.
Yeah, okay. There you go. So let's talk about how does social justice challenges show up for you in your experience as an Agile coach and also as a woman of color.
Yeah, I'm reflecting on my experiences, and I feel like I could come from it in terms of, from one aspect of treatment, right? Not equal treatment. So this is something from the woman perspective of not being heard. where I've been in situations, making contributions and sharing ideas, and then somebody else shares the same idea. I was like, I just said that. What is happening here? Do you not see me here? So those kinds of things. I mean, and also opportunity, right? But opportunity, not necessarily in terms of purely job opportunities, but thinking about from a larger space of your abilities not being, or your abilities being discounted, where for example, I was submitting to a conference, and they're looking for new voices. So I'm like, great, this is great for me. And they're providing like shepherds or mentors or whatever you want to call it. And I'm sharing my ideas, and they're like, yeah, this might be good for a lightning talk, but not for an actual talk for the conference. So, but the fortunate thing for me was, at the time, I had a lot of other folks in my circle who could provide other input and perspectives, so that I wouldn't take that as like gospel. So that's where the whole community comes in. Community is very important for support. But there's one other thing that is not as obvious, and it's actually something, not something happening to me, but something about me bringing myself to work, like whole self. People talk about bringing your whole self to work. And there's a lot of things to unlearn, right? Because you're set, you're taught certain things and how you should operate in a work environment, about being professional, which can sometimes, at least for me, come off as being detached, which is not great in an agile environment where you're trying to build trust and build up teams. And so, there's also some things on my side that I had to unlearn in that perspective, and be okay with bringing my whole self to work.
Yeah, it's nothing like people not recognizing that you are a thought leader in this space.
Yeah.
Hard stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
So what is it like when you are in a conversation about diversity, equity, inclusion, and do you feel sometimes that people speak to you in that conversation as a victim?
I don't necessarily feel like a victim, but I feel more like there's a burden. So really, when I'm thinking about it, when I'm saying that, I'm like reflecting back to last year, when George Floyd was murdered, and everybody was jumping on the train about being supportive to the Black community, and really trying to understand where it's like, okay, you want to be supportive, but don't be supportive by asking me to do the work for you. Right? If you're trying to help, what should I do? I was like, well, go do some research to understand this experience. I cannot tell you everything, right? And so that's where I felt like, I don't see myself as a victim. I'm not a victim, but I also don't need the burden of your being uncomfortable.
So I just want to clarify the question. It's not you being a victim, but is people treating you like a victim? I think there's a distinction between the two. What do you think?
I don't feel, for the most part, that I am treated like a victim. I think that people are at least the people that I'm interacting with, are looking to be more aware, if that's the right word, and they just don't know how to do it. So sometimes, it might be feeling like, oh, they're doing me a favor. I'm like, no, you're not doing me any favors. I'm totally capable here. I got here just like you did. But at the same time, if someone is willing to share something with me, I will take it, so that I can share it with others. So, that may be coming from a place of guilt on their behalf, but I'm not accepting it in that way. I'm trying to use it in a positive perspective.
Totally understand. So let's talk about the economic impact of social injustice in your career. What has that been like, or has it even been anything?
Well, it appears in different ways that I try and, looking back, I'm trying to pinpoint, right? So I think the most important way has been a lack of reflective mentorship, because mentorship and sponsorship, and those are the things that can help propel you forward in your career. And the lack of it won't necessarily keep you back, but it kind of keeps you stationary, without having that kind of support. And so I felt like, I didn't see a lot of people who looked like me, who would have similar stories, as to engage with as a mentor initially, when I entered into, really first in IT, because when I was in school, after I got through second year, I stopped seeing Black people. There weren't any Black people in any of my classes. I'll date myself with Unix and C+ and stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't see anybody. So it makes it harder for you to advance as quickly as some folks without having that kind of support. And then one of the obvious things that I point out a lot is about lack of sponsorship, because really there is a big difference between mentorship and sponsorship. And sponsorship is where you can really propel forward. And so I feel like that's kind of the key for me, where that lack of sponsorship and mentorship earlier on in my career had an impact in me not moving as fast as I would probably like.
I could completely relate. It's nothing like being in a computer science lab late at night and like, oh, wow, I'm the only one there, right? I know the experience well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you, Nicole, in terms of some of the actions that you will personally take to improve opportunities for Black, Indigenous, and people of color, BIPOC, in the Agile community.
So from, my motivation, especially since the lens of Black experiences has widened since last year, I have been motivated to focus on Black representation in thought leadership, specifically in the Agile community. So I figured, where can I make the most impact? Where can I lend my talents the most? And so that is kind of where I've focused my lens. And part of it has become from being involved in the Agile in Color initiative. That's just was born last year, where we focus on mentoring and coaching, and specifically for the Black community in Agile, and also providing a mechanism for right now that I'm focusing on is providing a mechanism for giving out conference passes, because access is also an issue, right? And really just about sharing our stories and our perspectives. So by getting with great folks like you and having this platform for other people to hear us and see us, as well as in Agile in Color, we're also sharing stories about Black Agilists who are thought leaders in the Agile community. Brandon Rains is one person I just recently talked to. And so that's from Agile in Color. Another part and another place that I'm active is as an organizer for the DC Women in Agile. And I'm using my space and my influence there to get more Black female voices in the rotation. We had some diversity in our speakers, but I noticed there was a particularly limited mix of Black voices there. And so I'm pushing to get more Black voices in that platform and provide it as a platform for new speakers to launch their voice. So that's where I'm lending my hand.
You're busy.
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Good. Yeah, no, I look forward to partnership with Agile in Color and Agile for Humanity.
Yes,
as you guys
definitely
come and partner with us for a conference and during Black History Month, so that should be fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about if you want to see change between how BIPOC and non-BIPOC individuals integrate, in the Agile community. What kind of significant changes would you like to see?
So there are a couple of different ways I can think of. One that's I think would be an easy lift is more partnerships. And by partnerships, I mean just simply more people co-presenting at conferences, right? So one great way, and one way that I was able to share my voice in the conference circuit was by partnering with one of my non-BIPOC colleagues at my company and on a presentation, because it's just a great mechanism for having the different perspectives being shared on a national or even international stage. So that's just one way that you can create some partnerships between non-BIPOC and BIPOC in the community. The other thing, I'll harp on it again, is about more sponsorships. People who have the advantage using that leverage and influence to uplift what I call hidden gems, because that is a problem that's prevalent, where people who don't look like the folks who have the power don't necessarily get the seat at the table, because people gravitate towards people like them who've had their same experiences and that kind of thing. So really kind of opening up their doors a little more to create more sponsorships. And honestly, I think at an individual level, just more vulnerability, making that effort to engage with the BIPOC community. One specific example that I can draw on is one of my fellow core team members at Agile in Color, Matt Carlson. I met Matt from when we did the open space with Agile Alliance for increasing racial justice in the Agile community. And, he's been active ever since and has really demonstrated that vulnerability. And I appreciate that, because I feel if more people did that, we could get to a better place.
Yeah, Matt is awesome.
He is
Giving
awesome.
him a shout out as well. So let's talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. The utopia. What would you love to see as a utopia in that space?
Well, I'm going to focus, because the great utopia of diversity, equity, and inclusion is a lot. So I'm going to focus in the corporate setting. And the utopia I see would be there is no need for a DIB department at work at any company, that everyone is being valued. Just full stop, period. Really focusing on making people more multidimensional instead of just putting them in one box, right? Because if we do that, it would make it easier for us to connect with each other. I'm sure we can all find something in common with people that we work with if we just get past the boxes. And so I would like to think the future to be less about diversity and more about a mosaic, right? Because diversity is just really touching on one piece that that people see, the physical differences, but really about making more emotional connections. Because it's like, I'm not just Black, I'm a woman, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm lived in these different places, and there's so many different dimensions to me other than just being a Black woman that we can connect on with somebody who's not Black or who's not a woman, So I think it's really about looking at people more as a mosaic, because we all bring that when we come to work or whatever space we're in. We're all a mosaic. And then ultimately, about what I would like to see in this utopia is not restricting BIPOC people to the head of DEI in what company XYZ as the only leadership position that they can serve. Obviously, they have a specific experience that lends to that, but we are not limited to, what we look like. We have a lot more great ideas and creative thoughts and innovative thoughts to share outside of just DEI. And so given that opportunity in the utopia, we could make the color of leadership be truly reflective of the community in that organization.
Wonderful. Any final words for our audience before I close?
I feel like, there's an opportunity here to lift and grow others. And I am offering myself to lift and grow others because I've been lifted up and I've been given opportunities by other folks. So, if you out there are in need of coaching or mentoring, please reach out to me or anyone in Agile in Color. You can reach out to me in LinkedIn, because we want to create that space where everyone is uplifted. So that's what I offer.
Nicole?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being courageous to have this conversation with me.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you having me here.
You're welcome. So in closing, I'd like to say thank you for listening to the Knowledge Share with Dr. Dave podcast. I hope this learning experience would also prompt you to take and seek more and discover how you can contribute to the positive experiences for BIPOC lives. It really does not take much. All you need to do is to tap into your own humanity. The music for this podcast, I'm always going to shout out my niece, Kiana Brow Hendrickson. Copyright 2021, Knowledge Share and Dr. Dave Cornelius. And until next time, be well, stay safe, and connect soon.
Let's talk about talk. Let's go deep. We all have something to share. No share with Dr. Dave.